my eyes, feel I'm dreaming. Believe everything I thought I was missing, baby, you beast. I'm gonna hold you close with my heart, I promise I need it. You made me better, you know it took away the pressure. Now I'm focused, kept my eyes on you. I see you growing, give you the world. I hope you know this. I'm gonna be right here.
Okay, this is gonna be what they call inferences. Now we're kind of leveling up. You can almost think about it like different levels of abstraction, right? Like now we don't really care anymore about what those little pieces are and how they fit together.
Yeah.
But now we're thinking about the like big ideas of what the question is asking. And so for these ones, we're going to be thinking less about this like what's the right rule here, how do I apply it? But instead it's pretty much all going to be comprehension. These are considered among the hardest questions.
Okay.
And they're pretty much always asking the same question, which is which like thing most logically completes the text.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like with all the other questions, you can help your brain out a lot by just like crossing out what is important. You can't automatically cross out on these because sometimes you need all the context from the whole passage.
Yeah.
But most of the key information is going to be right before where they put the blank. You know?
Okay.
So if you need a place to focus, you really want to focus on just what that last bit before the blank's asking. Yeah, see, they say you still need to read it every single time.
Yeah.
Right. And then they're saying it's especially important to look for keywords and for transition words.
Ooh, okay.
Remember when we learned about transitions? That was like the first.
Oh yeah, like additionally, and then like in addition.
Yeah, exactly. Therefore, because of that. And you remember there were. This is good review actually. We'll do some review next week. But do you happen to remember what the 3 kinds of transitions were? It was 3 C's, right?
Contrast.
Yeah.
And then
if something makes something else happen, it's
compare?
No. It's all good. It was contrast, causation. Right?
Oh yeah.
Causing, contrast, causing, and continuation.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it was like there's all these different fancy words, right? But they're only ever doing 3 things. It's either continuing the idea, that's like additionally, right?
Yeah.
Or it's contrasting the idea, it's sort of presenting the opposite. Or it's saying causation, so it's saying here's how that idea has caused this idea. You know? And so these transitions are going to come back here in this one as well, because a lot of the times what'll be right before the blank is a transition word.
Ooh,
and you like what that transition word is tells you how to fill in the blank. Because you like if it's like additionally right before the blank, then you know, okay, whatever completes the text is going to be a continuation of the last idea, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the first example. Okay. Oh my god, yeah.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot.
So give it a read, and then we can start talking through it.
Alright, in their book Smart Pricing, Jug, Mohan, Raju, and Z. John Zhang consider musicians' use of the non-traditional pay-as-you-wish pricing model. This model generally offers listeners the choice to pay more or less than a suggested price for a song or album, or even to pay nothing at all. As the authors note, that is the option most listeners chose for an album by the band Harvey Danger. Only about 1% opt to pay for the album, resulting in earnings below the band's expectations. But the authors also discuss musician Jane Siberry, who saw significant earnings from her pay-as-you-wish online music store as a result of many listeners choosing to pay more than the store's suggested prices. Hence, the pay-as-you-wish model may.
And then which choice most completes the task? So, before you look at the answers, just kind of like try to summarize for me. Like, what is a pay-as-you-wish pricing model? What does that literally mean?
Oh, it's something. It's like a quote for like your music.
Yeah, sure. Let's say, how is it different than like, right, like normally whatever, I go to the store, I buy a CD, it costs $10. others. How is it different than that?
Oh, it's like it's like one of those things. It's like a deal.
Yeah, it is a deal, but it's like a deal, but it is like but it doesn't have to be a deal.
Yeah, true.
Pay as you wish, right?
Yeah.
Because that means someone could also pay the full price, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's say they like really just love you and they want to support you as a musician, and so they pay you like $100 for your album, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what this second sentence here says, right? It offers listeners the choice to pay more or less than a price. You know, so you can choose. Okay, great. So then, what happened next? It gives us examples of two different artists, right? Do you see how there were two artists?
Oh yeah, Harvey Danger and then Jane Siberry.
Yeah, perfect. And so then, what happened for each of them? Did the same thing happen to them, or did different things happen to them?
Similar things.
Why do you say similar things?
Because they both are like investing into the earnings.
Yeah, they both did pay as you wish, right? So I guess that's similar. But were their results similar?
No, they were different.
Okay, so what were the two different results?
For Harvey Danger, there was only 1% opted to pay for the album, which was below expectations. And then for Jane Siberry, the results for that made many listeners want to pay more.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you see those are opposites, right?
Yeah.
So that was great, actually. Yeah, like you can totally choose, like pick from the text for that kind of thing, and it's good that you're paying close attention to the text.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have to ask, right? Because sometimes a different, you might realize that the text actually said something different. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like I asked you, did the same thing happen? And you were like, yeah, the same thing happened. But you actually look at the words and you see kind of the opposite thing happen to them. Right? Pay-as-you-wish model may prove financially successful for some musicians, but disappointing for others. Does that seem like it captures what we just talked about? So do you think that Harvey Danger was disappointed by that? Yeah, right. And then it says, so it proves financially successful for some, but disappointing for others. So that kind of sounds
could work.
Like it could be it.
Yeah, it could be.
Because what we just talked about, right? We were saying the point of the paragraph was these two opposite things.
Yeah, different opinions.
Yeah, so Jane, right, was financially successful. Remember, she paid more than the source suggested prices. But Harvey wasn't successful, right? Because only 1% opted to pay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think it could be A, but we should check all the options to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so next option. Pay-as-you-wish model may hold greater financial appeal for bands than for individuals. Do you think that would make sense?
The appeal didn't go well for the bands.
Yeah, well, so this one is comparing band versus individual. Okay, actually, here, how about this? Here's like another way you can think about these questions. When you read an answer line, I was just checking it with myself, and I was like, oh, this is how I'm solving them. When I read an answer line, the question that happens in my head is like, what would the paragraph need to have said for this answer to make sense, right?
Oh yeah.
So for A, right, when I read prove financially successful for some musicians but disappointing for others, I was like, what would I have needed from the paragraph to make A the right answer? I was like, okay, the paragraph would have needed an example of the model working for a musician and an example of the model being disappointing for a different musician, right? And I was like, okay, the text does have that, so that's why I'm like, okay, it might be A. But for B, right, so it says holds greater financial appeal for bands than for individual musicians. So what would you need to have seen in the paragraph for that to be a good answer?
More pay.
More pay for who?
For the band.
Yeah, and less pay for who?
Musicians.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's like, okay, that's what would need to happen in the paragraph.
Yeah.
And did we see that happen in the paragraph? No, it was the opposite.
Yeah,
right?
opposite.
It says the band Harvey Danger right, the band Harvey Danger were the ones who were disappointed, but Jane, the individual, right, she's an individual. And you can even see it gives you little clues, right?
Oh yeah.
Right before it says the band Harvey Danger, and it says musician Jane Cybery. You know, so you know which is which.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we know B isn't right because it's kind of actually the opposite happened there. Okay, let's look at C now. Okay, it might the model may cause most musicians who use the model to lower the suggested price of their songs and albums over time. Okay, this is kind of an important idea. There's only like 2 ways that answers will be incorrect here.
Okay.
So one way is either it's like they draw the opposite inference from the text, or they draw like a not relevant, I guess.
Oh, okay.
From the text. So it's like you can be wrong because you have the right. You can be wrong because you're talking about the right stuff, but you like mixed it up. So that was B, right? B was an example of that. Where the paragraph was about bands and individuals,
right?
But they drew the opposite thing that you were supposed to.
Yeah.
Or so it's like that's the easier way that something can be wrong. But then something can also be wrong just if it's like drawing an inference that you wouldn't be able to draw. Like let's say we polled 100 students and found that, you know, 65 preferred, you know, prom at a hotel, while only 35 preferred prom posted in the gym.
Yeah.
Something like that. And so then, a not relevant inference would be like, students prioritize, let's say, like, great food and drink over any location. Or let's say, like, over, like, at prom, over aesthetics. So, and then here's another example. We're hosting prom at the school. These are both more cost efficient and more popular. So okay, so this is just an example of like the two different ways that you can be wrong, right? So this is like being wrong in this first way, right, where you make the opposite inference.
Yeah.
Because this one is saying hosting prom at the school would be more cost efficient and more popular. Does this say that hosting prom at the school would be more popular?
No.
No, right? Why is this wrong?
Because there's more people that preferred prom at a hotel.
Perfect. Yeah, you got it, right? So this is like the type of answer where they're just giving you the opposite, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's wrong because they took they read it wrong, basically. But then this one, where you say, students prioritize great food and drink at prom over aesthetics. That's also not a correct inference, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like opposite in the way that this one is. It's just like you can't decide that based on what you just read, you know? Like,
yeah.
It could be true, right?
Like,
yeah. If they had polled students about what foods they prefer at prom, right? Or like whether they prefer soda and water or juice or whatever, like then you might be able to say something like this. But they just didn't ask students about food and drink at all.
Yeah.
So this is also, so it's like it could be true, but it's a wrong inference. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Because it's not completely
it's like,
right, but it's somewhat like almost right.
Yeah, or it's like it doesn't matter that it's right.
Yeah.
It's like something being right doesn't automatically make it a good inference, right? So if we come back to this question, right? We were on C. Like the pay-as-you-wish model may cause musicians who use the model to lower the suggested price of their songs and albums over time. I'm like, well, that could be true.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. But
Like, maybe, like, let's say a musician did this model, and they found most people were only paying $1, then they might set the suggested price at $1, so that people feel like they're doing a good thing, you know?
yeah.
But we can't draw that conclusion from anything they said in this paragraph.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that works. And then, if you look at D, the pay-as-you-wish model may strongly reflect differences in certain musicians' popularity than traditional pricing models do. And it's like, could you say that based on what you read in this paragraph?
I don't think it can reflect in popularity, no.
No, right? So let's just do this to help you practice this way of thinking. What do you think, what would the paragraph have needed to include for you to be able to say D?
Maybe like the type of song what type of music they like to make, or like what type of music sparks their interest, and like maybe promote like what type of things or like how for their music they would want to get people's preferences on it, to listen to it.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Popularity is the big idea here.
For sure.
So, like, they would have needed to tell us how popular Harvey Danger is, or how popular Jane Siberry is. But they didn't.
Yeah, so they would probably have thought, and they were like brand new.
Yeah. So it's like we just can't say anything about their popularity, because we don't know if they're popular.
Yeah, it's true.
Alright. We're gonna try one more. So at the end of the day, we say, okay, it can't be B, it can't be C, it can't be D.
Definitely
A seems right, so we know for sure that it's A. And you can see them go with it. Oh yeah, so see here they're pointing out these transition words. So you have but here, right? Which is a contrast word.
Oh, okay.
So if you're thinking about the transitions, right? You're like, well, what's the relationship between Harvey Danger and Jane Siberry? The fact that it uses but tells you that probably a contrast is happening between these things. You know? Yeah. Matches off today. Okay, perfect. Let's try this one. So, you read this to me?
Alright. Off and off-Broadway theaters emerged in the late 1950s as a rebellion against mainstream Broadway theaters in New York, freeing artists to create productions that were more experimental than typical Broadway shows. One such artist was playwright Maria Irene Forens. Working with off-to-off Broadway theaters enabled Forens not only to direct her own plays, but also to direct them exactly as she intended them to be staged. Regardless of how strange the results might have seemed to audiences accustomed to the Broadway shows, in this way Forens. And then we got ABCD. Okay.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, just very quickly, like, try to tell me what this paragraph was about in, like, a sentence or two. And try not to pull the words from it.
Okay, so it's definitely talking about, like, the way they're trying to make... they're trying to basically, like, get audience's attention to stage or like show their Broadway play.
Yeah, but it's sort of not. They're sort of going off Broadway, right? They're doing plays, but they don't want to do them on Broadway, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's sort of one person in particular that's about. Right?
Oh yeah, Maria Irene Forens.
Perfect. And so what was she doing?
She was working with off Broadway theaters.
Perfectly. Yeah, perfect. And then it's like why was she doing that? Do you think?
She wanted to direct them to be on stage or to be staged.
Yes, but every director wants their thing to be staged.
Oh yeah, right.
Something being staged just means it's on a stage. It's performed for someone. So what was special about off Broadway for her?
She wanted to create a stage to create productions to be experimental.
Yeah, more experimental. Exactly, right? It says that's what it says in that text there. You know. because it says she wants to direct them exactly as she intended them, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of how strange, the results might be. So it's like she might be making super weird theater with like puppets and crazy stuff, and the Broadway audiences don't want that, but so she went to these like small theaters instead. Cool. And so then we just look at our options, and we can go a little faster because I know our time's up here.
Oh yeah.
So
the ones that don't make sense.
Yeah, you can also do any that don't make sense.
Maybe definitely A.
Yeah, definitely A does make sense.
Yeah, it could definitely like show an opportunity.
I agree.
For C, I don't think it would make sense because like whatever you go for, it could probably still be famous.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not C for sure. I don't think it would be B either because wait, where stages was more complicated than staging.
Yeah, this one again, this one feels more like it's not like an opposite inference, it's just like a not relevant inference.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, it could be more complicated, but it just doesn't say anything about whether one's more complicated or the other, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It's just like it doesn't. Again, it's like you. I feel like you were kind of thinking about them of like, could this be true, right? Like you're like, oh well, someone could be famous in the mainstream, or they could be famous, but again, it's like we don't actually care if it could be true or not.
Yeah, that's true.
We only care about if it could be, if it's like relevant to what they were saying. So I think you basically did it right. So which was the only one you thought it could be?
I think D.
Yeah, and D is the right answer.
Okay,
so great job. But it's like, yeah, you did that pretty much right. Like you said, okay, this one doesn't really seem relevant, that one doesn't seem relevant. It totally could be, so that's how that works.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, awesome.
Well, everybody, that was me learning inferences for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon because we got way more to do. We only got 2 examples done. So, yeah, everybody, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, post notifications on so you know when I'm ready to post bangers like this one. I think I did pretty good, so leave a comment down below if you're ready for part 2 because I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing so good with this, and we are done with 1 independent clauses, and this is the new thing we are learning, so it feels good, and these are definitely a little harder, but I'm definitely doing better with it, and I'm definitely getting used to it, so that's pretty good. Anyways, I wish you the next banger. Your boy Aditya is now out. Peace.